And hey guys, welcome into the live stream. It is 9 o'clock, straight up and down. And as we put on social media, yes, we are moving this live stream, SF Live. We are moving it to Tuesday nights. I hope that's not going to be a problem for everybody. But you know, for me, I actually I like football a lot, and I watch football all the time. And especially, you know, fantasy football and all that. And so when I realized that we had been doing these live streams on Monday nights, and then all of a sudden football's going to start, and it's like, no, we can't do that. So I wanted to make the decision to move them to Tuesday nights. And in all honesty, just to get to where we can have some sort of a pattern and actually keep it that way, we will probably keep these live streams on Tuesday nights from now on. And as a matter of fact, I am actually probably thinking about actually adding another night. So we might do like Tuesday and Thursday night, or something like that. Who knows? I have to say, I actually, you know, and this goes back to my radio days back 35 years ago. I actually prefer doing the live streams more than I do like making the videos and the content. I enjoy making the content. I enjoy making videos for the YouTube page. It's something that I have not had a great deal of time and availability to be able to do lately, and I'm sorry for that. I know a lot of you like the videos, and I know they're helpful for you, and I want to continue to make them. I am going right now. I'm in the process of trying to get a better schedule down for myself that will allow me to be able to do that. But in the meantime, I really want to build up and grow the live streams that we're going to be doing now on Tuesday nights. And we might even be, like I said, adding another night. So if you've never been in on one of our live streams before, welcome in. We're going to do this every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Central. It's 10 p.m. Eastern, and I don't even know, 7 p.m. Pacific. I'll always forget where we are and what time zone we're in. But if you've never been here before, I'm so glad that you could join us tonight for our first Tuesday live stream. I see James Buchanan is checking in. Also Chandler Jones. Guys, good evening. Hope you guys are doing good. Don't forget, if you've never done this before, if you've never been in on one of the live streams before, or if you've never done it on YouTube before, all you have to do is chat your question. You can chat live with me. All you have to do is type your question or comment or anything that is that you want to talk about in the chat section of the YouTube window right there, and it pops up right there in front of me, and I can read it. And like I said, if you got a question, you got a comment, anything like that, we can talk about anything you guys want to talk about. We can talk about songwriting, we can talk music business, we can talk production, we can talk about anything you guys want to talk about, politics, sports, all that. You know, all the interesting stuff going up in Washington right now with the Supreme Court. I've tried to stay out of it, but you know, if you guys want to talk about it, it's an open forum. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. One thing that I did want to talk about briefly, as our very first live stream dealt with the Music Modernization Act. And if you haven't been on social media, the Music Modernization Act did pass the House, so it will go to President Trump's desk for his signature. And that will be the last step in the Music Modernization Act becoming law. You can go back to the very first SF Live that we did on this subject, and it was a long video, it was a long live stream, but it was very good. The kind of the thinking about it at that time was, I am a CSAC writer, and CSAC had opposed an amendment at what people were calling the last minute that many thought were trying to derail the process, and which is not what they were trying to do. But that all got worked out. Thus, that's why we're here. And the Music Modernization Act has passed, and it's waiting President Trump's signature. You can go back and listen to my arguments on both sides of this issue. Overall, is it a good thing that the Music Modernization Act is passing? Yes, it is a step forward. It is not a leap forward. I understand everybody's excited that something's being done, but again, like we talked about that night in the very first live stream, everybody involved would admit that this is not perfect legislation. No legislation is ever perfect, but this legislation is by far imperfect. I always tend to be a bit of a realist when it comes to these kind of things, and I don't expect the size of the checks that come to my mailbox to be significantly larger. I'm hoping that they are. Aren't we all? We're all hoping that they're larger. But I just don't know if that's going to be the case. But we are making a step forward. You know, this is the first step forward in many, 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 many years. And it is supposed to represent more fair and equal pay for creators. And I hope that's the case because that's how we make our living. So kudos to everybody that fought to get the legislation passed. I know that Bart Herbson was a big part of that at NSAI. I know I have my things about NSAI, but that is one of the great things that Bart has put in a lot of work going back and forth to Washington and lobbying for this legislation and really trying to help it sink in to our legislators, how important our songwriters and our content creators are to the fabric of this country and the rest of the world. And they must have done an effective job because the legislation is going to pass. And I see no reason whatsoever that President Trump wouldn't sign it. I see no reason why he wouldn't. So it looks like it's going to be made law. It's like I said, it's not a leap forward. It's a small step, but it is a step in the right direction. So that is absolutely great news for today that the Music Modernization Act has passed. And we'll wait and see when President Trump signs it. And we'll all go outside and do backflips and wait for those huge increases on our checks. So we got that out of the way. I did want to hit on that because I was reading a little bit about it earlier, and of course everybody's reposting it. If you don't already, you should be following me on Instagram and Twitter. It's at the Steve Freeman. I think. Can I do that? I don't know if I can do that or not. Maybe I can. Let me see. I've got all kinds of cool stuff and cool toys that I'm playing with, and it's like I will it work? Maybe not. Okay, just forget it. At the Steve Freeman on Instagram and Twitter. And especially if you want to take part regularly in these live streams and what's going on. I have had a complaint with YouTube for a while, and if I'm being honest, it's maybe have a little reason to do with why I've been a little less enthusiastic as I was about creating content for the channel. There are things that YouTube needs to be doing that they're not doing. I think that every creator on YouTube should have the community tab, which allows us to communicate one-on-one and directly with you guys, the subscribers. They don't want to do that. They are taking a page from Facebook, which those of you that don't know, under Facebook's algorithm, whenever you post something on your wall, only 3 to 10% of people who like your page or follow you or you are friends with, only 3 to 10% of those people see what it is that you're posting. If you want more of your friends to see what you're posting, you have to pay to boost the post. It seems as YouTube is kind of doing the same thing. There's a lot of things going around with subscribers are not getting the notifications when the channels that they subscribe to have uploaded new content. I don't want to get too deep into it, but it really kind of saps the enthusiasm of creating content whenever you take all this time. And a lot of the videos, I think I've said before, you know, when I make a good quality video, I mean, it takes all day, literally all day, sometimes 2 days. and you put all that work and effort into it to upload it to the channel, and then, you know, hardly any of your subscribers that have checked that they want to subscribe to the channel and they want to be notified whenever new content is uploaded, and then they're not notified when you upload new content. It, like I said, it just, for me, I've got many other things that I could be doing. And I want to do them, but I also want to do them for people that want to see them. And if I'm going to put the time in to create it, I want those of you that have come to the channel and subscribed to the channel and have clicked the little bell icon next to the subscription button, that you want to be notified when I go live, or when I do post new content or new videos or whatever it is I might be doing. I want you guys to get that notification. And that's frustrating to know that a lot of you aren't. So for that, I apologize. There's not much I can do about that. I did tweet YouTube last week and say, hey, why can't we open up the community tab to all creators? That way we could communicate with people that are subscribed to our channel. And they said it's in beta testing. So hopefully that's something that will get rectified pretty soon. If you are in here tonight, you are watching the live stream, let us know who you are. Type it in the chat. If you have a question or a topic or something that you want to talk about, all you have to do is put it and drop it right there in that comment section, and it will pop up right in front of me, and I can read it. And I always love reading your comments. I always love answering your questions. So if you got them, put them in there. That's all you got to do. I do want to do another live stream where we do actual music reviews, and we actually, you know, listen to and watch some of you guys' music, because I get a lot of emails from you guys about it, and wanting me to listen to music and give my critiques on it and things like that. And for those of you that feel comfortable enough, I would love to be able to do that, if possible, during a live stream one night. I think it would be a lot of fun. There again, like I said last time when we were talking about doing this, it's not to criticize anybody. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in being critical. I don't want to do that. I try to offer at times constructive criticism, and that's at best all that I will ever do is honest to goodness try to offer the constructive criticism. I'm not interested in bad mouthing or tearing anybody down. It's just not what I enjoy doing. And I don't like people doing that to me, so I'm not gonna do it either. And if you're wondering, yeah, the lighting keeps changing because tonight I just decided I wanted to turn all the lights off in here. It like I said earlier, it reminds me, it throws me back to my days when I was in radio. And when I first started out in radio, I did nights. I did 7 to midnight on a station called the Mavic 106.7 in Little Rock, Arkansas. And this is what the studio looked like. All the lights were off. So the only lights that I'm using are my monitors that I have up. So when I pull up something that has a dark background, then it changes the lighting on the camera and everything, which is kind of cool. It's just kind of moody. I do have a guy that I'm actually really looking forward to this. I had an electrician come out and look, and he is going, and I already bought everything to do it, but basically he's going to put those Philips Hue light canisters in the ceiling so that I can change them different colors and all kinds of stuff. It's going to be really cool. Because I get off on all that kind of stuff. I love that, the LED stuff. I love just the mood lighting and all that. And for me to be able to want to come in and do the live stream like this and visit with you guys, it's like I just want to be comfortable. And I'm a little uncomfortable tonight, I do have to say, because I only had one Starbucks today. I did not get my second Starbucks today. So everything is not going as planned, but that's all right. That's all right. I've got a trusty bottle of water here, and we will make it through. I'm interested to hear what you guys want to talk about. If you've got questions or anything like that, there is one thing that I want to go over with you guys tonight. This is going to This is probably going to piss some people off, and I don't care. I'm just going to throw that out there because it's the truth. And I wanted to talk about this for just a little bit tonight because I got an email from a songwriter that is coming to Nashville from the UK, and just wanted to know, some of the things that they should do from a musical standpoint. And the comment was made that they were going to be here a few days early, to check Nashville out, but then they were going on to a certain person's songwriting retreat. And it's the same person who I've dealt with before and had artists and songwriters before attend these songwriting retreats. So and then it wasn't 30 minutes later, I got on Facebook and I saw an ad for that stupid savvy musician chick. Then there's another guy that's on there it's DJ something or something. You see all these ads about people telling you how to grow your music career. And guys, I saw one not in 30 minutes before I got on tonight about another one. Click here to learn how to get your songs in movies and television shows. We can get your songs in movies and television shows. See, Chandler, Starbucks should totally sponsor you. I agree. Hey, I'm a stockholder. I'm there twice a day. I think Starbucks should. I think they should. Chandler, I agree with you. Anyway, guys, I want you to pay attention to this, okay? These people like the savvy musician thing, they are all that. There is always an ask at the end of that line, okay? There is always an ask for money at the end of the line. It may not be up front. Well, all they want from you up front is your email address, because then you go into their what is called in our business a funnel. Okay, and funnels are automated. These people collect email addresses, it goes into a funnel, and then they start marketing directly to you all these different products. They get you in by telling you that it's totally free. We're going to show you how to book more shows and how to grow your fan base. Meanwhile, the people that are doing it have absolutely no substantiated success whatsoever. None. And some of them do. If we go back, and I'm talking now more about the songwriting retreats. And there's this one lady in particular, and I don't know why she bugs me so bad. She does. She just bugs the shit out of me, and I can't stand her. I think it's because she's never written a hit song. She did work at a very reputable major publisher when some successful songwriters came through. She wasn't responsible for signing them or responsible for their careers like she says she is. She just worked at the publishing company when they came through. She charges new songwriters, amateur songwriters, beginning songwriters, aspiring professional songwriters, whatever you want to call yourself. She charges a lot of money for you guys to come to these retreats. And there are all these different sessions with her critiquing your songs and telling you how you can write your songs better and all of this and all of that. Well, if you look at the websites and you look at all that and you look at social media, when these people leave, everybody's talking about what a great time they had and how just it was amazing. Okay, guys, listen here. That's true. These people did have a great time. But when you are so passionate about something and you believe in something in yourself so strongly, there's no stronger aphrodisiac in the world than being around other people who feel the same passion that you feel. So when you ask these people the day after attending one of these retreats, how was it? And they're like, it was amazing. It was the best thing I ever did in my entire life. It's not because of what they learned or that they made a giant leap forward in their career, certainly worth the $3,000 or $4,000 that these 3 or 4 day events charge. They are excited because they spent 3 days around other people who are just as passionate about music and songwriting as they are. There is power in community. Okay, we all love being around other people that are just as passionate about what we're passionate about. So that rubs off on people. And of course you have a great time with that camaraderie and spending time around other people that enjoy the things that you enjoy and that are as passionate and that you feel like you are a common traveler on a road together. But paying $3,000, $3,500, $4,000 to go and allow a woman or a man or anybody else who has never written a hit song teach you how to write a song is fucking stupid. Period. End of story. And if you do it, you're wasting your money. You're absolutely wasting your money. Doing those type of retreats are not going to get you further in the business. You are not going to become a better songwriter having gone to one of those retreats. I can promise you that. Your songwriting, I've said this many times before, and a lot of people get upset when I say this. You cannot teach talent. Some of you need to realize, and I don't know who's watching right now, and I'm not meaning you in particular. When I say you, I mean as an industry. Some of you need to realize that you just don't have the talent to do this. I don't care what your parents have told you and what the people that love you the most and surround you and are kind of your blanket of security have told you how good you are. Maybe you're not that good. The only way you're going to know that is if you struggle, okay? And paying $3,500 to go to a retreat to help you become a better songwriter, that tells me right there you don't have what it takes. You're reaching for somebody to give you a leg up that you can't give yourself. If you cannot teach talent and songwriting, being a great entertainer, those are talents. They are not teachable and they cannot be learned. And I run into that so much in dealing with a lot of different songwriters and a lot of different artists, and they've been told that they're great forever. So they believe it themselves. And then they get out here in the real world and they come to somebody like me and I listen to something and I'm like, look, trust me, I'm the last guy in the world you want to ask what I think about something. You don't. I get emails every day, all week long. Will you listen to the song and tell me what you think about it? My email back to that is, you need to be 110% sure that you want it, because I'm going to be honest. I'm going to pick it apart and be honest about what I think about it. Now, I will never volunteer criticism. I will never see something and go, hey, you know what? That really sucked. I think you could do this. That's not me. But if you come to me and you say, hey, what do you think about this? Be prepared, because I will tell you. And I would say most artists, most songwriters are not prepared for that. Guys, girls, whoever you are, everything in between, because we can be anything these days. You know, I can identify with a freaking apple tree as if I want to. So men, women, and everything in between. You stop trying to find shortcuts to success. Consistency and sacrifice are what gets you to success in anything, not just music, not in the entertainment business, not in acting, in anything. If you haven't sacrificed and know what the definition of sacrifice really is, and I see that more than I see anything. I see people come to Nashville and they've played their local bar scene forever and they think that they've paid their dues. Well, that's paying your dues where you're from. The minute you put your boots on the ground in Nashville, your dues start all over again, because this is a completely different game. What you did before doesn't matter. And how great you were and how many people you can put in Joe's bar in your hometown doesn't matter, because now you're playing with the big boys. And I don't think a lot of artists are prepared for that. It takes a great amount of sacrifice and consistency. You're not going to find those two things, and you're not going to be able to bypass either one of those things by attending a $3,500 songwriter retreat or by giving the savvy musician chick. I said chick. Your email address so that she can start spamming you and eventually ask you for the dollar amount that's at the end of that rainbow. And to find out what she is telling you she can tell you, there's only one barrier, and that's the cost. At some point, there's going to be a cost. And none of that's worth it. The things that you see all the time with these services about getting your music in movies and TV, they can't. It won't. It's a scam. All they're doing is taking your money. Period. End of story. They never get anybody's music placed in TV and film. The examples that they use are some sort of very loose association that they had with somebody that it just happened to happen. But it's not something they are responsible for. Can I identify as a senior citizen so I can get my discount in restaurants? Absolutely, James. Go for, you know what? When you get to that point, you've earned it, you can identify as a senior citizen. Absolutely. Go right ahead. But guys, that was one, and I don't know why it was just like it was. I felt like everybody was aiming for me today because everywhere that I looked, I was seeing these things. We can get your song in television shows and movies. Like, I've had songs in television shows and movies. I continue to write songs for TV shows and movies. And none of those opportunities ever came from any one of those. Not Taxi, not any of those. Any of those services, guys, stop looking for somebody else to do the hard work for you. Stop looking for a company that you can pay to put you here. Okay? Do the hard work yourself. That's part of the sacrifice. What's my saying? If it is to be, it's up to me. Stop looking for opportunities for other people to do the heavy lifting for you. Start finding out who. Do you know how easy it is to find out who music supervisors are? Watch TV. Watch films. They're right there in print on every television show, on every movie. Do some research. Join IMDb Pro so that when you see a music supervisor's name, you can go to IMDb Pro. You can look that person up, look their contact information up, and email them. And of course, you're going to email them 300 times and you're never going to hear anything back. But it's that 301st time. You also got to know how to talk to these people. You don't just start sending them songs. There is a way to do these things. But you don't have to pay a service or an individual to make that happen for you. Make it happen for yourself. At the end of the day, pay attention, class, because this is important. This is something that I adapted and adopted myself about 10 years ago. Because I used to be in your shoes. I thought there was a company that I could pay to do this and a company that I could pay to do that. I thought the same things you did because I didn't know until I learned. But here's kind of a philosophy that I adopted and a way of thinking. And this is a difficult path. It's hard. But you know what, guys? Life is hard. And if you think life is hard, the music business is 3 times harder than anything you're ever going to deal with. And I told somebody the other day that if you want to know what the real music business is like, if you're married, you got a girlfriend, you're living together, what I want you to do is I want you to get up every morning and have your wife or your girlfriend kick you in the nuts. That's what the music business is like. That's how I want you to start every day. Get up and just have somebody kick you square in the fucking nuts. Because then it's all downhill from there. That's what you've got to prepare yourself for. But the mental philosophy and the thought process that I adopted for myself was that I cannot, here's what I want. In the end, whenever God says that it's time to bring me home, and I'm at the very end, and of course there's a lot of things you could think, but from my career standpoint, here's where I want to be, at the very end. And I know I'm about to die. I want to be able to look back over my career and know that the only person that stood between me and what I wanted to achieve was me. If I didn't do it, it was my fault. If I didn't achieve it, it was my shortcoming. I do not want to have wasted my life and my career to get to the end of it and look back and have people to blame. The minute that you start putting your success in other people's hands is the moment that you place your failure in their hands. Because you can never count on anybody. Nobody. Not in this business. Look, the music business, the entertainment business, it is not a we sport. Okay, it's not a team sport. It's individual. The friends that you think you're making, they're only your. Try succeeding a little bit more than they do, and see how long you keep your friendships with the people that you think you're friends with. So you're not making friends in this business. This is a singular business. It is not a team sport. Guys, if there's anything ever across anything that I can ever do or talk to you about or educate you and try to steer you in the right direction, it is that one thing. Do not place your success in somebody else's hands. Do not get up in the morning and think that if I had a manager, I could do this. If I had a booking agent, then I would be booking more shows. If I had a publicist, I'd be getting in all the magazines and on the TV shows. If I had. That's just failure after failure after failure after failure. Because here's the thing you got to understand. As you are thinking about yourself, as we all do, and that's okay, guys. This is a selfish, but I don't care when people, if people, you want to call me selfish, you're damn right I'm selfish. I am selfish. I'm probably the most selfish, self-absorbed person you'll ever meet because I've gotten me here. I, of course, have had the support from my wife and my kids and my family. And yes, I've had the support of those people, and I wouldn't be here without them. But from a career standpoint, I can't look back and look at one single person outside of my family that helped me get anywhere near where I'm at. Nobody. I fought for every inch of it. And I continue on a daily basis to fight for it. I encourage you to do the same thing. Do not put your destiny in somebody else's hands, because if you do and you fail, that's your fault, not theirs. So stop this line of thinking that if I had a manager, does your phone not work? Does your phone only receive calls? It doesn't make outgoing phone calls? Because here's the thing, let's break each one of these down and talk about this. Managers, guys, listen up. They make anywhere from 10% to 20% of whatever it is that you make. So if you're out there and you're not making dick, what kind of manager do you think you're going to get? You're not going to get one. The music business revolves around everybody jumping on an already moving train. If you haven't heard me say it and you don't hear anything else tonight, listen to this, okay? Everybody wants to jump on a moving train, but nobody wants to shovel the coal to get it going, right? It's the same thing as nobody wants to be first. So from a management standpoint, if you're not making $1,000 a night playing, you're not going to get a manager, because a manager only gets 10 to 20% of what you make, and they're not interested in representing an artist that they make nothing on. When you go out and play for $500, $50 to them is nothing. And to get the kind of manager that you're wanting that can up that amount and get into the good paying jobs, you're going to have to be making a lot more than $500 a night. A buddy of mine at William Morris told me 2 years ago that they value their contract at $1,500. The paper that the William Morris Endeavor contract is printed on is worth $1,500. This was 2 years ago. Meaning that when they collect their 15%, that they only work with artists that are making $10,000, because 15% of $10,000 is $1,500. So if they're not making a minimum of $1,500, they're not interested. Would you be? Put yourself, and you can't think of, oh my God, I hate the people at CAA and William Morris and APA and ICM. Why? Because you've contacted them, they haven't contacted you back? They're not interested in work. This is a for-profit business, guys. We got to stop thinking badly about the people who are in this to make money. Okay, just because people are in this to make money doesn't make them a shark. I will tell you, I haven't been passionate about music in many years. I do this for the money. because my mortgage company likes for me to make money. The people who have the loans on my cars love for me to make money. My family loves for me to make money. My kids' school loves for me to make money. NES, the power company, they love it when I make money. So I am in this for the money, and there's no reason, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong for you being in it for the money either. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you're in it for the wrong reason if you're not in it for passion. Well, the minute my mortgage company starts taking passion as payment, then I'm back in it for passion. Okay, but when you have a family, and even if you don't have a family, let's say you're single and you're starting out, you've got to be more about the money than anybody, because you're providing for yourself. You've got to keep the train moving. But you have to be careful where you use your resources, guys. Be very careful. Tate Greer Music says, love your content. Listening in Missouri right now, tonight. I feel like there is a gap or maybe a lack of interest in the industry for instrumentalists. Do you think that is so, and why? Wow, that's actually a really good question, Tate. I don't know that there's a lack of interest in the industry. And I'm going to answer this question in a way that you probably didn't think that I was going to answer this question, but this is the way I'm going to say. Because I think this has impacted our business here in Nashville and Los Angeles and Atlanta, New York, Miami, every other, recording hotbed of the world. The big studios are going out of business. There was a major studio here in Nashville where a lot of major artists cut, and I've produced several records over there, and I love it to death. I'm not going to say the name, but it is owned. It is a major studio in town. Was so close to shutting down about 3 months ago that they started selling off a lot of their vintage gear, just so they could keep the doors open. You can pretty much now do in a home studio anything that you can do in a major recording studio. I mean, I've cut #1 records right here. And how I'm getting that back to the instrumentalist is I think as things start to slow down and they become isolated, and I think as that happens, I think that the opportunities also shrink. I don't think that there's a lack of interest. I think it's a lack of opportunity. I think there are more people doing things from their homes than going into studios and needing instrumentalists. One of the things that I know for sure, in one of the ways that instrumentalists were really making a good living for a long time were sound libraries and music libraries. There again, today, they are paying track guys and producers that sit with a computer and a little 49-channel keyboard, and they can pull up a plugin that can sound like a bassoon or sound like a banjo or an acoustic guitar. Why would you hire a guy to play the flute when they've now got these samples through instrument packs that they can sit there and play on a keyboard and it sounds exactly like a flute? I mean, used to it was, you could tell it was digital, and you could tell that it was a sample and it really wasn't that good. And so you still had instrumentalists that were coming in and playing on sessions or providing music for these sound libraries and recordings and theatrical productions and TV and film. Well, now you've got guys that can do it on a keyboard. And I think that is the problem that you're seeing. I think that's why. There again, I don't think there's a lack of interest because they want that sound. They want that sound and that speciality that comes with a multi-instrumentalist that can play several types of instruments. I got to say, I'm the ballad guy, so I love to write ballads, and I even more than writing them, I love to produce them, and I look for every reason in the world to put cello on something because I love strings. I absolutely love strings. So, but when I'm producing a record, in all honesty, I have to sit and look at the budget for producing that record, and I have to go, okay, having a string section is going to cost X amount of dollars, into the thousands. Or I can call a buddy of mine, and he can come over here, and in an hour, he can lay down a full string ensemble, and you can't tell the difference between a real player and what he played digitally. It's that good these days. That's where I think the problem comes in. And I hate it. Trust, I hate it just as much as you do, because that's why I don't, when I turn down producing hip hop records 3 times a week, minimum, because I don't believe, I think this whole thing about making beats and all that, to me, and I put, God dang, I put a post on Instagram about this last year. And it was like it almost kind of went viral because I pissed so many people off. But, oh, man, I loved it. And matter of fact, I'm going to post it again tomorrow because it was so much fun when I did it. But I posted a picture of a laptop, and I superimposed on the laptop screen, I said, a computer is not an instrument, and it's a tool. And, man, that got people mad. I don't care. I don't care. I'm glad they got mad. They got mad because they got defensive, and they got defensive because they know I'm right. If you are sitting around making beats on a laptop and on a computer, and you're doing everything in the box with a little bitty keyboard and a mouse, and you're using programs like Splice, and you're dragging and dropping in loops and sounds, you are not a producer. You're a computer programmer. Period. End of story. A producer is somebody that works with arrangements and that puts and knows how to put what personalities in the room at the same time to get the arrangement to sound the way that you hear it in your head. Working with other people and having that connection and being live in the room when music is being made and making those decisions with those musicians. That to me is a producer. A guy that sits and make beats and does things and uses programs like Splice is a computer programmer to me. He is not a record producer. So when I see a lot of these hip hop records and R&B records and we produce this, no, you didn't do shit. You drag and drop some stuff. That's what you did. I watch something and I respect the hell out of this guy because he is a record producer. And I know that budgets are shorter and time is shorter. So that's why as technology advances, if you haven't noticed, when technology advances, it's to cut time out of the creation process in anything. Whether it's that new iPhone XS Max, it's got a faster process to get you from point A to point B faster, in hopes of being more productive. And in music and in production, it's the same exact thing. They keep coming out. Why go buy a $12,000 vintage 251 when you can buy the new Slate modeler that sounds exactly like a vintage 251? And guess what? It does. It sounds exactly like a vintage 251. By the time it goes through the mix and it goes through the master and it gets out on the radio or out on an album, they could have used a shitty Shure stage microphone, and it's going to sound exactly like they used a classic vintage U47. That's just where we are with technology. It's a good thing and it's a bad thing. For time constraints, it's a great thing. It cuts time out, and it helps with budgets as well because labels aren't spending as much money. So when they've got a guy who can do everything they want done by himself, hiring no musicians, it's just him and a computer and a little keyboard and a little, drum pad, drum machine, and that's all that guy needs. And they're paying that guy $45,000, $50,000, $60,000 for this EP or this record, and they know they're going to sell 10 million copies of it. If I were the record label, I would be doing the exact same thing. I don't like it. As a producer, as a user, as somebody who values being in the room with musicians and creating something, I don't like it. But if I were the record label, that's exactly what I would be doing. Why go to the expense? Because here's the problem, though, in all honesty. The reason that's become okay is because we have trained the end user to care less about the end product. They don't care about quality. They don't care. When I listen to an Adele record, I love listening to Adele records. And I discovered somebody else this week I'm going to tell you about too. But I love listening to Adele records because I love the production. I absolutely, you can feel being in that room. It's amazing. But I think I'm one of the minority. If you are outside of this business and you're just an Adele fan, you've never once thought about the production process that went into creating those records and the vintage process that they do with cutting all the instrumentalists in one room, all the musicians in one room, dry cutting the drums and using natural reverb chambers. They don't know anything about that, so they don't appreciate it. If you don't know it, you can't appreciate it. They know she has a great voice. And of course she does, but I listen to the production and I just, it's like, wow, it's amazing to me. Chris Stapleton, same thing. Brent Cobb is a producer. That guy puts guys in rooms and finds a way to make magic with 5 or 6 individuals at the same time. That is a producer, guys. So, Tate, I hope I answered your question. If I didn't, I apologize. And if you want to narrow that down for me a little bit, I'm more than happy to give you my thoughts on that. But that's what I think. Yeah, there is a gap. I don't think, like I said, I don't think it's a lack of interest. I think it's a lack of opportunity and technology expanding the way that it has to almost make the business of needing instrumentalists specifically. Almost innate, almost like banjo players in Nashville. I tell you that I would not want to be a background singer, banjo player, fiddle player, or harmonica player in Nashville. They're going broke. You know, I mean, background vocalists, everybody's doubling their vocal. Everybody's using Melodyne and going a third up. Nobody's using background vocals anymore. I don't care what they tell you. They're not. I mean, some people do, sure. A lot of the purists do, and that's great, and I appreciate that. But Tate, I hope that answers your question. Chandler, he says, my dad always told me to work for what you have, and you'll always appreciate it 100% more. I agree with your dad. That's true. That is hard for me because I'm never satisfied. I'm never happy with anything the way that it is, and I'm never satisfied. Now, I'm going to be real honest with you, and I'll get real personal. That is a good thing for business. It is a bad thing for personal life. And it's very difficult to have both. But I am that way. I can never be satisfied with what I have because I always feel like there's more to do and there's more to succeed. So your dad is right though. I would love to find a way to be at peace. My wife tells me this all the time. I'm never in the moment. I'm here, but I'm not here. And I'm not ever satisfied with anything when I should be. That can lead to big problems. It leads to trying to take on too much, which I do constantly. I've done it right now. I'm in the middle of it right now. And I tell myself when I come out the other side of these things that I won't ever fill my plate like that again. And then that thought goes from right here to right here, and then it's gone, and I'm on the phone taking on another project. That's just me. If my brain is not occupied 100% of the time with another 100% in reserves, ready to go, I go into a depression. And I can go into a very, very deep depression. I have to be honest with you, every creative, and I won't name names, but every ultra creative person that I have ever been around battles with depression. Because I think as creators and creative people, whether you're a songwriter, whether you're an artist, whether you are a screenwriter or an actor or whatever it is that you do, but in the creative sense, we have an innate need for two things. One, to be recognized for our talent and what we do. And the second thing is to see it reach the highest levels. And the only reason we really want to see it reach the highest level is so that we get to number one, that we get recognized for doing it. That's a tough thing in this business, man. It's tough. I could tell you personal story after personal story after personal story about times that I've been screwed, times that I've been left out, times when I've done things and been responsible 100% for them and sit there at a party and watch somebody else get all the credit for it. It happens all the time, and that is a shot. And I also think that's probably what drives the inability to be satisfied. Because when you've been in this business long enough and you've had it happen to you so many times, you get to the point where even if it's me, even if it's just me that can make myself happy, and I know that I was responsible and I'm the one that did that and I should be getting the credit, sometimes that has to just be enough. Because going back to what I said earlier, nobody is ever going to want to share the credit readily. It just doesn't happen. Very rarely. I'm friends with a lot of artists, and I'm friends with a lot of people who play on the road for big artists. And I don't know how they feel, but you watch the award show sometimes, and these artists get up there and they get these awards, and they thank God, they thank country radio, they thank their wife, they thank their mom and dad. Very rarely do they thank the guys in the band, because honestly, nobody would show up to see them sit on a stool and sing. They show up for the show. And without the band, there's no show. Without the crew, there's no show. Without the lighting guy, there's no show. Without the guy back there at the sound booth running the auto-tune, there is no show. Without the guy running the jumbotrons and the screens, there's no show. So at times, you have to be prepared in this business to be a perpetual sideman. And that's not always glorious. I've had firsthand experience with this through a very close friend of our family, Scotty Moore, who passed away last year. Scotty was Elvis's first guitar player. I mean, he played on all, Heartbreak Hotel, Jailhouse Rock, Don't Be Cruel, all that stuff. And actually, when Elvis first got to Sun, Scotty was the one that was like, let me work with Elvis because there's something there. And Scotty wrote a book a few years ago. And if you are a music aficionado, kind of the way that I am, we had the amazing fortune of him being an extremely close family friend and knew him for years and years. He wrote a book called That's All Right, Elvis. And I don't remember the exact dollar amount, but from like 1952, when he first met Elvis, until the day he stopped working for Elvis, like after the 68 comeback special, I think he made like $30-something thousand in all those years. And that's being a perpetual sideman. You like people like DJ Fontana and Bill Black, those guys, they all went on and they capitalized on their fame from playing with Elvis by playing with Elvis impersonators and doing Elvis cruises and all that. Scotty never did any of that. He never capitalized on that, on those kind of things. But you never know who's watching behind the scenes, and that's what you need to realize as a songwriter, as an artist. You never know who's paying attention and who you are going to mean something to that will mean something to you later in life. It took forever for Scotty to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is hard to believe. I mean, it just happened like 5 or 6 years ago. It really was hard to believe. But one of the stories that this is on tape, and I'll never forget it watching it, was Keith Richards from the Rolling Stones was being interviewed. And he said he remembered the first time that he ever heard Elvis on the radio. And he said, I looked around at everybody else that was listening to the radio, and they all wanted to be Elvis, but I wanted to be Scotty Moore. Pretty powerful. We never know how we're impacting people. And a lot of times our work cannot be measured in gratification, and it can't be measured in the love that we receive from other people that are recognizing us for what it is that we love to do so much. Sometimes people just don't feel comfortable. This is a competitive business. I tell people all the time, when you come to Nashville, you feel, you're climbing that music ladder, that success ladder, but there's always somebody right above you that's cutting the rung below them so that you can't come up behind them. And that is this business. But that's part of the sacrifice. That's a lot of the sacrifice. You have to learn to make yourself happy first, to be content with yourself first. When you write a song, don't worry about what other people are going to think about it. Worry about what you think about it first. And if you think that you've got it right, then you run with it. Because after you're done with it, what anybody else thinks about it is just opinion. And guys, the powers that be in this business are wrong 1,000 times more than they're right. 1,000 times more than they're right. Every major artist that is on a major label right now was told no by every other label in town. And probably the label they're signed to, they were told no. That's just how it is. I can tell you story after story after story after story of songs that were pitched and turned down because they said they weren't hits, and then they go on to be massive hits. You have to understand that when you do something in this business and you put it out there, you're not getting an honest assessment of fact of the product that you have put together or written or created. You're getting somebody's opinion. And opinion is molded by, did the Starbucks barista get their drink wrong that morning? Because I can tell you, on mornings when they fuck my Starbucks drink up, I am fit to be tied. If you call me and you want something from me, or you want my opinion 5 minutes after I took a sip off of my drink after I'm 5 miles down the road and they screwed my drink up, I'm probably not going to like your song because I'm human. And my interactions previous to coming across you, they do affect our decisions. So guys, please stop getting frustrated when you send out these emails and you don't get responses. It's nothing personal. It's just the way the business is. When you send a song in to get somebody to give their critique or whatever, you're getting an opinion. You're not getting fact. This is artwork. You can walk into a gallery, an art gallery in New York. I'll put it on me. I can walk into an art gallery in New York and look at some of the things on the walls and go, that is the ugliest thing I have ever seen in my entire life. Well, 10 people are going to walk in behind me and go, that's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Just because I don't get it doesn't mean that it's not good. Same thing with anybody else in town. And I don't care who you're talking about. I don't care if you're talking about the head of Capitol, if you're talking about Scott Borchetta. They are not the end-all, know-all. Trust me, if they did, they'd have 10 times more artists on their labels and be having 10 times more success than they are, okay? They pick wrong more than they pick right. None of us have a crystal ball. None of us know what's going to be successful and what's not going to be successful. What we do know is that we have to get up every day and keep going. We have to keep creating. We have to keep writing. We have to keep cutting. We have to keep creating. And that's the important thing. Stop letting what other people say and think influence you to try to either change you or change your direction. Again, it all comes back full circle to what we talked about earlier, and that is, if it is to be, it is up to me. For every one thing that somebody doesn't like, there are 50 million other people out there that will like it. It's your job to bring eyes and ears and anything else to what it is that you're doing. And I know that can be a difficult process. That's one of the things that I want to do on one of these live streams, is I want to actually get into the artist development side and talk to you guys about ways and things that you can do that actually matter as an independent artist, to be able to hopefully build your status, build a successful and growing fan base, which is what you ultimately want to do. That is, in all honesty, that's kind of the key to everything, is building an engaged fan base. And there is nothing standing between you or in your way from doing that. The walls have been torn down. You've got the internet, for goodness sakes. I know it seems like at times it's a massive sea and it's tough to break through, and it is. But it takes work. It takes sacrifice. And it takes a lot of times more than what most people are willing to give. And there is more sacrifice required than most people are willing to sacrifice. But, you know, there again, just some random thoughts from myself. I'm going off, guys. I'm telling you, I didn't have that second Starbucks today. So they closed an hour ago. So we started the stream at 9, and the one up here by my house closes at 9. So we were SOL on that deal. Let's see. Tate said, good answer. I think the only way out for instrumentalists is to figure out how to do what the computer can't, and it'd be obvious to move more than just musician. I agree. That's a tough one. That's a tall order to figure out what the instrumentalist can do that a computer can't. The problem with that is because it's great instrumentalists that are creating all these samples. So maybe there's your answer, Tate. Get into making sample libraries. Get into whatever instrument it is you play, make a great sample library and sell it to Yamaha or sell it to Ivory or Waves or Slate or one of these other plug-in companies that make these things so awesome. Anybody else have any questions that's watching? Just type it right there in the chat, or let us know that you're watching. Let us know where you're watching from. If you got a question, pop it in there, and I will be more than happy to answer it for you. We've been on now for about an hour, which is, I want to try to keep them to around an hour. I know it gets late, especially starting. We used to do these at 7. And I think it's easier for everybody to get on and after you've had dinner and you've had to, spend some time with the family, and hopefully 9 o'clock on Tuesday nights will be a lot better. Also want to give a huge shout out to Boso right there. You can see the little logo right there. Everything's backwards on my end right there. Born Southern, amazing lifestyle clothing company, guys. Officialboso.com. If you have not checked them out yet, you need to do so. I love working with these guys. I wear their clothes every single day, pretty much. If I'm not, usually I'm wearing a Boso hat or a Boso shirt. Eric just sent me some sweatshirts. Man, they're comfortable. I love them. I can guarantee you will as well. Head over to officialboso.com. Check out some of the new shirts, some of the new hats. And also, if you choose you want to buy something, all you got to do is enter the Steve Freeman as your discount code. You're going to get 10% off your order, and that's a good thing. Hey, these days, it's a good thing. Anything off is a good thing. Plus, in a few days when you get that package and you feel that shirt, I swear to God, guys, I'm picky on clothes. I am real picky on clothes. I like my t-shirts to be extremely soft. Like, I love, and these are the most comfortable shirts I ever wore. That's why I got involved with Born Southern to begin with. First off, then I got to know the people that own the company and became friends with them, and that's a whole other thing. But what started it was I absolutely love the clothes. And that's why they sponsor the show, because I love their clothes. guys, we'll wrap this thing up. If nobody else has any questions, if you do have any questions, drop them in this chat thing real quick, or we're going to get out of here, and we're not going to get to your question or your comment or anything else that you'd like to talk about. Keep an eye, guys, on the news. The Music Modernization Act did pass. Again, if you're just joining us, it will go to President Trump's desk, and he will sign it. I can't believe he wouldn't sign it. So I'm sure he will, and hopefully things will start getting just maybe a little bit better. Guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It is about 5 minutes after 10 o'clock. I've probably kept you a little long. Next week, next Tuesday, I think I'm in town. Yes, I'm in town. We will be right back here. Be sure and tell everybody you know about the live stream, about the channel. Share a link to the channel and tell them to come in. And we're going to start having, I'm lining up some guests right now that I'm going to start having on. And it's going to be very informative for you guys. That is this whole thing, is I hope that every time we do one of these live streams, just the same as if when I'm doing a video or anything else and putting it on the channel, I hope you get something out of it. I hope that you are learning. I hope that it's helping you become more constructive and more creative, and that you will avoid making mistakes that start to kill the passion in so many people in this business, because that is what this business is really, really good at. It is really, really good at tearing people's dreams down and making you feel completely inadequate most of the time. But I promise you, if you've got the talent, you can do great things. And that's what I want this channel to be about. That's what I want these live streams to be about. I want to be able to answer any question that you have to either help you be more creative and constructive, or to help you avoid making a mistake that so many songwriters, independent artists, and creative people make in their journey to success. That's what I want to help you do. I want to help you get there. I want to help you save money, and I want to help you avoid making pivotal mistakes that keep your career from going anywhere at all. Guys, thank you so much for being with us tonight. We'll be back next Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. Until then, guys, keep pressing the boundaries, keep being creative, and don't ever forget, there is nothing wrong with being independent. See you next time, guys.